Hello Percussion. Today we're talking about dotted rhythms, the notes B flat and E flat, as well as step 3 in our Simple Steps book in week 6 of beginner percussion class. Here we go. So let's talk about the musical dot. What is a dot anyway? Well, in music, a dot adds half of the value to whatever it's dotting. For example, let's take the number 4. If I take a 4 and I place a dot after it, we've got an algebraic equation here. That dot equals half of whatever 4 is. And so half of 4 is 2. So what we'll do is we'll take 4 plus 2, and that equals 6. And so a dotted 4 in that case would equal 6. Let's say a dotted 4 equals 6 beats. Let's go higher. Let's take a 10 and let's dot that 10. So what does that dot add to the 10? Half of 10 is 5, so a dotted 10 would equal 15 beats. What about a dotted 80? It's kind of ridiculous. Let's do it though. Dotted 80 would add 40 to that, and so therefore a dotted 80 would be 120 beats. Let's go the other way now. Let's take a 2 and let's write a dot after a 2. So half of 2 is 1. So that means a dotted 2 would be 3 beats. What if we took that 2 and changed it into a note? Half note is worth 2 beats, right? So would a dotted half note be 3 beats? I think so. Let's take the same thing with the number 4. Our whole note is worth 4 beats, so a dotted 4 equals 6. That means a dotted whole note would equal 6 beats. And just a quick note, if you were a fan of that explanation, I highly recommend purchasing a book called Teaching Rhythm Logically. It's a brilliant piece of material. It's by Darcy Williams. I highly encourage you to purchase it, especially if you are a band director. So as we open up to step 3 in our Simple Steps book on page 10, you'll notice that it does review whole notes and whole rests. Remember, those both get 4 beats. Go ahead and review that on your own time. But once you are ready, let's go ahead and dive into numbers 1 and 2. That's going to work on your whole notes and your whole rests there. As usual, go through that process with either your teacher or just review it on your own. You count first. We can say the sticking, we can air stick and say the sticking, and then we can play. 1, 2, ready, go. We used downstrokes this time, but keep in mind you can use either full strokes or tap strokes for this particular exercise. Upstrokes would not work super well, but you could use those too if you'd like. And later on that same step, you're going to see numbers 3, 4, and 5 that deal with the half note and the half rest. Like we said before, we've already known what those two mean. The half note and the half rest both get 2 beats of time. Go through the process, and then you can complete numbers 3, 4, and 5 on your own as well. So let's go ahead and look at page 11 now in our Simple Steps book in step 3. You'll notice that we start to come across our little dot figures now. So now we can actually apply the information that we just learned to the music that we see here. And a quick note, number 6 there, you're going to see a little letter C where the time signature should be. That is actually called common time, and that just means 4/4. So whenever you see a little C there, once again that means common time. It's just another way to write 4/4. But let's go ahead and check this out. Let's go ahead and review the process here. So if I put my metronome on 60 beats per minute, I'm going to count first. And so I see my dotted half note, and I think, okay, a half note is worth 2 beats. The dot adds half of that. So what's half of 2? That's 1. So then a dotted half note is worth 3 beats. So let's count this together. 1, 2, ready, and count. 1, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 2, and we always want to count until the very, very end. We've counted that. Now let's go ahead and say the sticking. You can air stick along with this if you'd like, but let's say the sticking here for the same one, number 6. 1, 2, ready, and go. Right, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, left. And you can kind of quiz yourself. That sticking is one of the stickings that we learned last week. Pop quiz. Is that all right? Is it all left? Probably not. Is it natural sticking or is it alternating sticking? It's actually natural sticking. Since all of our downbeats, 1 and 3, are on the right hand, all of our upbeats, 2 and 4, are on the left. And now, finally, it's time to go ahead and play number 6. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. We used downstrokes this time, but keep in mind you can use either full strokes or tap strokes for this particular exercise. Upstrokes would not work super well, but you could use those too if you'd like. And you guys can go through numbers 7 and 8 on your own. Notice the time signature in number 8 is 7/4. Remember that top number means how many beats. The bottom number means what type of note gets the beat. So that would be 7 beats per measure, and the quarter note would get 1 beat for number 8. And with your teacher, go ahead and go through the process of counting and air sticking, and then play numbers 9 and 10 whenever you are ready. Now, when we look at number 9, we might see a couple of signs that are unfamiliar to us. Those signs are called repeat signs. They're useful for repeating the same musical phrases without them having to be rewritten. It's typically indicated by 2 dots placed before a double bar. Here's the thing. When we reach the repeat sign, we need to go back until we see a similar sign. So for this example, in number 9, we can see at the end of measure 3, there is a repeat sign. So then we look back to where that repeat begins, and it looks like it begins in measure 2. So I would play in number 9, rest, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, then go back to measure 2, 3, measure 3, 2, 4, then finally 1, 4. So I would go from measure 1 to measure 2 to measure 3, repeat back to measure 2, play measure 3 again, and then play measure 4. And that would be the end of it. Typically, whenever you see a repeat sign, there's usually one earlier that tells you exactly where to go back to. If there isn't a similar repeat sign indicated in the music, then you'll just go back and play from the beginning. Now let's go ahead and transition into step 3A, the keyboard side of step 3. So as a reminder from last week, we have our row of naturals on the bottom of our keyboard and our row of accidentals on the top. For right now, we're going to consider these accidentals flats. We're going to call them flats. So let's talk about B flat. If we find where B is, we're going to take that letter B, or that note B, and we're just going to flatten it down 1/2 step. And we'll talk about what that is in the coming weeks. But what we're going to do is flatten that thing down 1/2 step so that B flat is going to be the rightmost note on the set of 3 accidental keys. Once we're comfortable with where B flat is, let's go ahead and go through the process with numbers 1, 2, and 3, either by yourself or with your teacher. Remember, for keyboard, that process is that we're going to count first, then we're going to say the notes, then we can say the notes and actually touch the notes on the keyboard for extra practice, and then finally we can play. And of course, we want to go through all the stickings as well. Right hand only, left hand only, alternating sticking, and then natural sticking. So E flat works the same way that B flat does. We're going to find the note E on our keyboard, on the natural part of our keyboard. Find that note E, and then we're just going to flatten it down to E flat, which is going to be the rightmost note on the set of 2 accidental keys. And of course, once we're comfortable with that, we can go ahead and play numbers 4 and 5, which deal heavily with our new note of E flat. On the next page of step 3A, we'll notice numbers 6, 7, and 8 start to introduce our dots again, this time within the context of our keyboard playing. And I want you to notice the different time signatures there on numbers 7 and 8, 3, 4, and 7, 4. Make sure to pay close attention to those time signatures before playing these exercises. And then finally, we'll put everything together and read Au clair de lune at the bottom of the page. We'll notice we have repeat signs as well as all of our new notes. We span from the bottom, B flat, all the way up to G. Let's play Au clair de lune together. And guys, real quick interjection here before we play it. I wanted to note that it is very important to be able to play all types of stickings on our keyboards, all right, all left, natural, and also alternating. But there is typically a quote-unquote best sticking that allows us to easier access our notes. We should always strive to avoid unnecessary awkward motions such as crossovers. 1, 2, ready, go. And that is it, guys, for week 6. As usual, I hope you guys have a great week. Happy drumming, and see you next time. Bye-bye.